It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee. Amy is in Connecticut to meet with one of her heroes, Dorie Greenspan, winner of 5 James Beard Awards and the author of over a dozen cookbooks. Her books have been on the New York Times bestseller list, and she's won the Cookbook of the Year award twice. She's also a frequent contributor to the New York Times Magazine. Her work has created a legion of fans who dedicate themselves to following her recipes. Dorie lives in 3 different places: New York City, Paris, and this beautiful home in Westbrook, Connecticut.
Well, how did you come to live this life that I think other people might dream of?
Luck. I think my whole life, if I were ever to write a memoir, I think the title would have to be something like, Who Would Have Thought? Because this was not, I had no idea that this would be, that we'd be here together today.
Right.
I started cooking when I got married, and I started after our son was born. I thought, I can't go back to school. I just don't want to finish. And my husband, Michael, said, you love to bake. Why don't you try baking? And I did. And I got fired. And I got another baking job, and I quit before they fired me. I was terrible. I was terrible. And a friend said, why don't you try writing?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I was, again, lucky. I got to work for magazines that allowed me to meet so many chefs and to learn from them, because I'm self-taught and taught by the chefs who were kind enough to let me work with them. And my first book came out, it's almost 30 years ago, 1991.
Wow.
Yeah. And it turns out that I love writing cookbooks.
And you worked with Julia Child, right?
Yes, I worked with Julia on Baking with Julia, and for years we started the morning talking to one another. So
Wow.
my 8:30 phone call was with Julia.
You've said that you write with beginners in mind. Why is that?
When I'm writing, I'm thinking, okay, if you've never done this before, what do you need to know? So when I'm working on a new recipe, I write notes and take pictures of all the changes in the recipe so that I can warn someone ahead of time. It'll look like this. Don't worry, it'll all be okay. And I really love to share what I'm doing. So if that enthusiasm comes across, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Well, I'm excited to bake with you today.
I'm excited to bake with you today.
Can we head into the kitchen?
Let's go.
So, Dorie, what are we making today?
A triple layer parsnip and cranberry cake. It's my go-to cake for holidays.
You know, I love carrot cake, and I also feel that the parsnip is a completely underappreciated vegetable. I think of them as this very New England kind of Ethan Frome ingredient, but they also,
really
but I mean, just the name, parsnip, it sounds like something people eat to punish
Mr.
themselves.
Parsnip was a clerk at the bank. I love when I can pack something with little unexpected flavors or textures or ingredients. So parsnip, definitely a surprise. I've got another surprise ingredient, coriander.
Ooh.
It's something that we use usually for a savory dish.
Yes.
It is so good with fruits.
Oh, that's lovely. It has that warm sweetness that you also find with cloves and allspice and all
That whole family, it's almost the gingerbread family.
So I'll put the ginger
In the sugar.
With the sugar.
When I have fresh chopped ginger like that, I like to put it in sugar, and the sugar creates a little syrup and softens the ginger.
This is honestly the cure for the winter doldrums. Like, these bright scents just make you feel like you just got a dose of sunshine when you're vitamin D deprived.
I love that you put it like that, but I find when we're baking, everything about what we're doing, I think, is interesting and a pleasure. It's not just what you get at the end, but stirring this and smelling it. It's part of the pleasure of making something.
What do you love about baking?
It's the pleasure of really of sharing it. We don't bake for ourselves. Mostly we bake because we want to share with people. No, it doesn't look like a traditional batter because it's foamy and lighter.
So there's a little bit of air, so that will help lighten the cake.
Yes, but this cake will never be light. See, there's just a little bit of syrup that developed from the sugar and the zest and the ginger. Pure vanilla extract. Right, I'm gonna do this with the back of my hand. Will you bake with me all the time? Not only are you fun, but you're so neat. So in goes the parsnips.
That's a lot of parsnip to
You know, it's so funny because as I was looking at the bowl, I was thinking, that's a lot of parsnip. Let's do the rest of this by hand.
Okay.
Okay. Chopped fresh cranberries. So that's the batter.
Wow, it is a
Done.
gorgeous,
Pretty, isn't
fragrant,
it? Yeah.
lovely batter.
Yeah. Time to pop them into the oven.
Okay.
While the cakes are baking, I'm going to make the frosting.
So we're doing a cream cheese frosting.
Yeah, just as you would with a carrot cake.
Right.
Shall we call it frosting?
Yes, that looks like frosting.
We don't have to worry about being neat. If it goes over the edges, that's fine.
That's kind of a new trend with cake decorating, is to not perfectly ice it. Maybe you can see the layers. Maybe there's a little bit of.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. When you're baking at home, it's nice to have it look like you've made it at home. Half of this cranberry filling. It's got cranberries and orange juice and fresh ginger and sugar. Perfect in its beautifully imperfect way.
So how did you start cooking?
I started cooking by burning down my parents' kitchen. There. I think that's probably all I have to tell you, but yeah. I was making, or thought I was going to make, I never got that far, frozen French fries. Put a pot of oil up to boil, put a lid on it. Right, yeah. And flames. And so I was 12 or 13, and that, as I said, was the last time I got into the kitchen until I got married. But I got married when I was 19. Okay. So it wasn't such a long period between banned from the kitchen and must be in the kitchen.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was in my 30s when I realized that that's really all I ever wanted to do.
And you were on a different career path at that point.
Yeah, I was all but dissertation for a doctorate in gerontology. Wow. Yeah, the study of aging. Something I know more about now than I knew in graduate school. But this is the triple-layered, four-handed cake.
You don't need another person to make this cake, but it's fun. So how did you make these lovelies?
These are so much fun. I made a sugar syrup, dropped the cranberries in, and then just dump them in a bowl of sugar.
So pretty. I want to pop one in my mouth.
So, still gonna be puckery.
But really good.
Yeah.
I love it.
You okay? There are
I'm
more.
good.
If there's anything else you want to do.
I think it's in a really nice...
You see, you
can stop. But there's one down here, so I'll just give that one a
You sure?
Yeah.
Last chance.
Okay, I'll cut.
Ooh, what a good job you did.
Oh, thank you.
Yay, Amy.
I'm serving your cake to you.
Thank you.
That's fabulous.
It's fun, isn't it?
Well, Dorie, it is always such a delight.
This was so much fun. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.